Hey, this is Josh from Eternity Collective.
What's up? This is Amu.
Time to grow.
All right. Hey, we're back again, coming to you from a different location this time.
Yeah.
And we're just so excited. We have a few exciting episodes coming up. We're even launching a new channel. And yeah, if you guys have any questions or any ideas for new episodes, let us know. Anyway, Josh, you caught my attention with the idea of limits.
For sure. I mean, I'm going to read a verse first,
Yeah,
right? Because
please.
this is what kind of got me started this season. This is from 2 Corinthians chapter 1, verse 8 to 10. It says, "We were really crushed and overwhelmed and saw how powerless we were to help ourselves. But that was good." I was thinking, I mean, how is that good?
Yeah.
For a matter of fact, how is that even good, right? I think what Paul was trying to address here was the fact that, okay, it's good because that is the place where I draw my limit. And that's the end of me, right?
That's the end of me. I like
So when you start at the place where you clearly know what your limits are and you define where you can stop, I think that's a great starting place. I think all of us need to take stock of the fact that it's easy to fill our schedules than to fulfill our priorities.
Wow.
And our purposes. Easy to get into something than to get out. It's easy to make a promise than to break it. So I think it begins with the idea of knowing, oh, you know what, that's good because this is my limit.
Yeah. I remember speaking to you last year, I think maybe even in one of our podcasts where, we discussed how usually you get into the new year wanting to add things. You said it, it's quote worthy. Maybe y'all can quote that. It's easier to fill our schedules than to fulfill our commitments. And I think that's powerful. Been trying to help Saba with some documentation, and it's been on my to-do list for like a week.
Okay.
And I keep forgetting. And even today when I was rushing out to come and meet you out here, she reminded me, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I didn't do it.
Oh.
And I start realizing, is it because I didn't prioritize it? Is it because I filled my schedule up with too many things? And I think it's two things. And this is why I think at some point the workload is a lot and I don't have any bandwidth anymore. So although I write things down, I even forget those things. I'm filling up my schedule, but I'm not fulfilling my priorities. And so what you said got to me. It really hit me, and I'm like, man, this is a good point. And have I reached my limit?
Yeah, it's always the case with me as well because I'm this person who always struggles to say no. I mean, I can say yes to everything, and then eventually end up in a place where I have so many things which I'm not happy to do, but I'm still doing them. Last year I was starting to do some consulting work and I was just not happy doing it, but I said yes, so I had to fulfill it and stuff like that, right? So I think it's good to know clearly when to say no, when you can't say yes. Interestingly enough, when I used to work for General Electric, we had this amazing program that were taught to some of the leaders, and then I had the opportunity to go through it. It was called The Art of Selling No. It was an amazing program where it talks about the fundamental mindset shift that you got to make to be able to say no to certain things. Yeah, but that was 25 years ago, and then that sounds old.
Even fatherhood, for instance, or me just wanting to proclaim the gospel, right? There's this pressure I put on myself. And there's this schedule or priority list that I fill up and say, hey, today, if I meet someone and I get that opportunity, I want to proclaim the gospel to that person. But in fact, I'm at my limits. In fact, I'm maybe exhausted, or I'm busy, or I'm stressed. How do I learn to lean on God in those times? How do I learn? Just like that verse says, hey, I've come to my limit. I'm broken. I'm done. Mm-hmm. But how do I learn to say, okay, that's a good thing?
Great question, bro. I mean, but let me take you on a sidetrack and then I bring you back, all right?
You better bring me back, man.
So recently we got one of this, slot car toys for Christian, right? They're these cars which can go at really, maybe 15, 20 kilometers an hour.
Way.
It's quite fast, on the track.
That must be fun, man. Yeah.
It's really fun. But the interesting thing is that, you cannot drive the entire track at one speed. You have to vary your speed to manage the way the tracks are designed.
Yeah, especially curves or so.
curves, it's a very bendy track,
Yeah.
it's curvy, so you have to do all of that, right? But it got me thinking about the idea that, sometimes God leads in ways where, he wants you to be at pace with him. But most times we rush out, we go ahead, or we slow down, and the future is as simple as this, right? Most of the time we either lag because we're stuck in the past, or we are driving too fast, thinking about the future and the things that are unfolding. But I think the way that God operates is the fact that, for him, it's a gradual unfolding. He just gives you barely enough information for you to not be overwhelmed. But we as humans, I think we do the exact opposite.
But how about in situations where we're thick and deep, 50, 60, 70 hour weeks, you're having in the middle of all the thickness, right? Like in the middle of all that work, how do you take a step back?
I mean, for a matter of fact, when you're neck deep into doing, I don't think you get the clarity.
Yeah. Interesting.
Right. You need to be able to find a way to detach, to find clarities, right? I mean, I got a tremendous break the beginning of the year, and it gave me so much of thinking time. I think that's what we miss in this sort of everyday, mundane rush and lifestyle that we have in today's world. I think the moment, what you call as the sailor moment, we don't get the opportunity.
Yeah.
And if we can intentionally find ways to, even if it is just 10, 15 minutes, to step out of everything and think, our mind has the ability to kind of create clarity from confusion. But most of the time we want clarity when we are still in confusion. You cannot see the bottom of a lake when the water is murky. You got to wait for the mud to settle down.
I think the first nugget that we got is that we need to take time when we're at our limits. Actually, when we're pushing, when we have momentum, when we're going, but we have no solution, take time. 15, 20 minutes, come out in nature, go for a walk, just clear your mind. Stepping into God's word, getting clarity from his word, getting clarity in your thoughts, getting your thought life together. I think these are very interesting things. And this is why I love that we started with the verse. So we take time, we get clarity. And I think the third thing, if you'd agree, would be to go back to God's word, to go back to what is God saying in this moment? What is God saying in this season? What is God saying in this situation? And how do I push or not push? How do I take a break? What do I have to think about? What are the things that God is telling me in this season? Yeah.
Maybe one last thing to add on is probably the idea of, not just time for reflection, but I think, I was just telling you in the morning, I had this wonderful time to just switch off everything, still dark, and just had this one light, and then had this moment of quiet prayer and worship with God. That was awesome. I think that sets the pace for the day. We can reflect, we can understand our limits, not get overwhelmed about the future and all of that. But yet, I think it fundamentally, if we have that sort of daily quiet, with God, it sets tremendous precedence to everything else that you do in that life, in that day.
Wow. So first word, last word. I think I got that from Rick Warren, but basically start off your day with the word and end your day with the word if you can. But
absolutely.
wow. Yeah, it sets the pace. I think that's another thing to catch on, guys, to just write down.
Yeah.
That taking quiet time with God sets the pace for the day.
Absolutely.
All right, man. Thank you for that. Thank you guys for listening.
Thank you guys.
Please comment below. Let us know your thoughts. And we'll see y'all next time.
For sure. I think I'm going somewhere, bro. I'm just messing around.
No, I'm listening. It's interesting.
I'm messing around. Let me come back from the top.
I was listening.
Time to grow.